Good morning, everyone. I'm David Caliguiri, and I have the honor of being the board chair for Level Equity Building. I want to thank all of you for attending this morning as we embark on our next phase of construction for the Rehab for Resale Project here in McKees Rocks. We are here because we believe great communities begin with great homeowners, and the challenges that face the housing crisis can be solved with home ownership rather than just apartments in large buildings downtown. At Level, our goal is to not just build a few homes, but to build communities. And we cannot and will not get there without all the people that are here today. There are so many community leaders that I want to thank, but I'm going to let them speak, and I'm going to let Jason personally thank them. Speaking of Jason, if you don't already know, Jason is our executive director, and Jason is the reason why all of you are here today. He is a tireless advocate for affordable home ownership and for Level, and he is a relentless leader for our organization. I'm sure Jason has called you several times over the course of the last few years to get your attention and to better understand what we're trying to do here with Level. It is because of Jason that we're all here today. So I want to personally thank Jason as board chair, and I want to thank all of you for coming today. Jason, come on up. Good job.
Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. And while I appreciate David's comments that you're all here for me, we're not. Today we're here for McKees Rocks. Today is a great day for celebration, and the word that has been ringing in my mind as I've been coming into this event and leading up to it is perseverance. And the story of McKees Rocks is a story of perseverance. And the people that live in McKees Rocks have stories of perseverance. And it is a great honor that I have learned from them, perseverance, to get through and to get to this point in this project, because it has been a long time in the making. David was absolutely right. We would not be here today without each and every one of you. When I had this idea for this nonprofit and this work years ago, everybody told me it was bold, it was crazy, it had never been tried before. But ultimately, when I first met with the borough and folks like Council President Archie Brinza, we were talking about the struggles of the borough and what we were trying to do to help the community and help the residents. And we found home ownership is the single greatest effect that we could have on the community. And communities that have more home ownership tend to be more vibrant, healthier, stronger, more resilient communities. And so blessed to be here today announcing the first pilot, to my knowledge, in Allegheny County that has been done this way. We're doing 9 units as a part of this project, and so grateful for all of you to be here. We're going to allow our partners to come up and share part of what's important about this project and why they're involved in it. And so many of them are so important to this. Champions, each and every one of them. The first one I want to welcome up is State Representative Lindsay Powell. This is not her district. Representative Kulik wanted to be here today. Unfortunately, she's not available. But Lindsay is a longtime friend to anyone that cares about home ownership. And I think that's part of the reason why once she learned what Level was doing, she wanted to be supportive of that. And so, Lindsay, thank you for your friendship and your support, and please come on up.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thank you to my dear friend, Jason Tigano, and the entire team at Level Communities for their tireless dedication and vision that brought us to this incredible milestone. Today's groundbreaking is a testament to their hard work and commitment to a stronger, more inclusive community. I also want to recognize the Office of County Executive Sarah Murato with my friend at Nusser, the Director of Housing Strategy, as well as all the other elected officials and stakeholders who made this day possible. So behind me, what we see isn't just brick and mortar, it's an opportunity. The buildings represent a new beginning for families to plant their roots, build a future, and more importantly, call this community home. It's here that life will unfold, where they'll celebrate anniversaries and birthdays and milestones, and they'll hopefully cheer for a Steelers win on Sundays. But more important, gather with friends and neighbors, creating memories woven into the fabric of McKees Rocks. Someday we'll see children playing in the yard, learning how to ride bikes, running on the sidewalk, maybe finding a loving hand to help mend any scrapes or bruises that they get playing. But this home will provide a sense of consistency and security that too many families struggle to find. In a world where stability can feel like a privilege and a luxury, this building and these buildings will offer a refuge for those everyday joys, sorrows, and challenges that make up the human experience. But this opportunity, the opportunity for stability, security, a place to call home, should not be limited just to one building or one family. In Allegheny County alone, there are nearly 57,000 vacant units. Statewide, that number exceeds almost 500,000. And this staggering figure and a missed opportunity, not just for families, but for entire communities, jeopardizes the well-being of our Commonwealth. Each of these vacant properties represents a chance to transform lives, to stabilize neighborhoods, and to strengthen Pennsylvania writ large. And yet a majority of these homes are off the market, stalled by foreclosure, abandonment, and disrepair. This is why we introduced the Affordable Homeownership Act. This legislation aims to bring back vacant properties, bring them back to life by providing subsidies for families earning between 60 to 120% AMI, area median income. With this bill, the Department of Community and Economic Development will have the power to award grants to nonprofits and other organizations just like Level, committed to bringing affordable home ownership within reach to all of our neighbors. These grants will support a range of initiatives from property acquisition to homebuyers assistance programs, asset management, home repairs, and so much more. This act not only addresses our housing crisis, but offers long-term and sustainable solutions that empower local organizations like Level to support families and reach their goals of owning a home. As we stand here on Woodward Ave, breaking ground on another opportunity, we should recognize that sustainable homeownership isn't just about putting roofs over their heads. It's about uplifting communities, stabilizing our neighbors, and ensuring that more Pennsylvanians have access to the American dream of home ownership. And so today we celebrate Level communities and the families that will benefit from this project, but we know that this is just one step of many. This is the Pennsylvania we're fighting for, a Pennsylvania where every family, regardless of your background, your income, race, or creed, will have the chance to own a piece and belong and thrive and have a legacy in this beautiful Commonwealth of ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay, for your wonderful comments. You know, the work is so hard, and after we sort of figured out the organization and we got it structured, the first place we went is to our good friends at the state, because the state really deals with this, like Lindsay alluded to, in so many different ways, in so many different areas. We were blessed to have the cooperation and the support of the Department of Community and Economic Development at the state. We're grateful for them being the first folks to really sit with us and understand what we were trying to do is we were trying to raise money for something that's never been done before. The person who's really led that charge at the state has been Deputy Secretary Mandy from the Department of Community and Economic Development. And I'd like to welcome Mandy up to the podium to say a couple of words on behalf of the DCED.
So I'm really excited to be here, but I would like to complain about my spot because following that's a little difficult. So that was eloquent and amazing, and I'm not sure I can quite top that, but thank you so much, and I think that deserves another round of applause. So note to me next time, ask for a spot before her. Thank you so much for that. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to be here. Mark and I go way back, and I feel like we've been talking about this for a really long time. And I don't know, those of you who know Mark Little, Mark has a guy, right? He has a guy, and he said to me, hey, I have this guy, and I need you to meet this guy. And this guy is Jason, right? And so it was an absolute honor to have the opportunity to meet Jason and really dive into what Level is and was becoming, and the opportunities that maybe DCD and the state could play in seeing some of that forward. And sometimes it's just strategy, right? Sometimes it's the conversation about how do we get to a space? How do we get to a place? And that's one of the things about Level, and Jason and this organization specifically is really about the strategy and the opportunity and how do we make the most of what opportunities exist. And you said opportunity, breaking ground on another opportunity, and I thought that was just the perfect example of what we're talking about here. I would be remiss if I didn't hit on the recent executive order signed by Governor Josh Shapiro. It is mandating the first comprehensive housing action plan to address multiple things, but the state's housing shortage, homelessness, expand affordable housing options. This is a real opportunity here in the state to take a comprehensive look at what exists and what opportunities are real for us here in the state. How do we leverage what we've already got? And if we're missing and we have gaps, how do we fill them? Like real looks and real hard looks. The Shapiro administration is really focused on making sure Pennsylvanians have access to safe, affordable housing options, attracting more people to live here, and making places safe and affordable for the people who live here now. One of the great things about Level is about affordable home ownership for the people who are here in McKees Rocks already. How do we make sure you can stay? DCD, as you guys may know, was tasked with administering this housing strategy. We're doing it with a whole host of agencies because we're one small part in this larger organization of housing opportunities here in the state. We believe that opportunities and programs that are developed under this action plan will improve those access opportunities, and they're essential for basically everything: economic growth, safety, well-being, just the overall improvement here. Recently, the governor unleashed the economic development strategy. And I'll tell you, during the economic development strategy, housing was the #1 thing we heard. Housing opportunities in our economic development strategy conversations. So we knew it was something that's got to be jumped on next and needed its own focus. So we believe that that's going to be a key part in the success of the economic development strategy is how do we create housing opportunities here in Pennsylvania. I would be remiss if I didn't go back to Mark here and just thank him for his leadership through my education in this process as well. It has been an absolute pleasure to learn more about not just the opportunities that exist in this space, but literally here in McKees Rocks. Folks who are here are elected officials from McKees Rocks. I just want you to know that Mark can't talk highly enough about your leadership in this process as well. And from a state perspective, I think that's another thing that we can't miss. This requires partnership. You can't do this on your own. Jason and Level can't do this without partnership of the borough, of its residents, of the county. It's just not something we can do by ourselves. And I think the leveraging of that partnership and putting their passion in front is really leading this effort. So I am super excited to be here today. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be included. I'm excited to see what comes next. This is my first official visit. I've definitely been through McKees Rocks, but this is my first official visit, and I can't imagine anything else being more exciting for me. So thank you so much. Good luck in all that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mandy. That was so kind of you. So obviously there's a lot of partners we need to thank, and so many of you are so important, but ultimately without the state and without the county, we would not be here today. And so, man, all the work we've been through, I'm looking at Ed, and Ed, God bless you, man, because when you started, you were on the other side with us in the nonprofit world. And, we were working with a different administration and working on moving this project along. And bless your heart, you left the nonprofit world and you went into the government to make a difference. And Ed'll tell you off the record, I called him before he even started the job. I said, Ed, I'm going to need you. You're crossing over into the county. I need your help on this side. And, Ed and county executive and Alvarado have been at the spot every time. This is challenging work. The county money and the state money don't necessarily marry and match the right way. And I know it's been a lot of effort on the county's part to make sure they keep their word to us, and they have. And so, Ed, you on a different side now. It's a different sort of world, but I'm grateful for your experience because I know you understand what the communities are facing, what the nonprofits are facing, and the challenges we all have to really make this work. And I think the county executive was smart to hire you as the person to handle the county issues around housing, because I can't think of a more qualified person to do that. So I'm grateful for what you've done for Level, both sides of the coin, and please come on up and share some of your thoughts.
Thanks for that incredibly warm introduction, Jason. So I'm Ed Nusser. I am County Executive in Morado's Director of Housing Strategy. County Executive sends her sincerest regards today. There's some stuff happening on Tuesday, so there's some visitors today. Secretary of Labor is in town today, so she sends her sincere apologies for not being here. But for our visits from our DC delegation, she would be here today to mark this incredible groundbreaking. Of course, my screen went out. There we go. So I don't think I need to tell anybody here about the housing crisis that exists in our country, in our state, in our county. And to address that crisis, it is an all-hands-on-deck moment. I'm excited to see state folks here today, excited to see our borough leadership here, to have our nonprofit community rally around, because this does take literally everybody if we're going to move the needle on addressing structural barriers that have been put in place over the last, if you're counting, 450 years. So I also just want to mark that to say I'm so excited to be here with Level to break ground and welcome Level into this work as being a new partner in the housing ecosystem to advance affordable housing, specifically access to affordable home ownership here in Allegheny County. So thank you, Jay. I'm excited to be here and celebrate with you all. Many folks might know when the county executive was elected in November, she kicked off the All-In Allegheny process, which was the most community outreach that had ever happened in regards to what county government should look like for the 1.2 million residents that live here in Allegheny County. And over the course of late November and December and January, the Inamorado transition team engaged 19,000 county residents from all 130 municipalities in our county to ask, what do you want county government to do for you? How can county government serve you and meet the needs that you have? And one of the things that we heard loud and clear in that process was housing. In fact, there's a 14-point policy section of housing for all in the All-In Allegheny plan, which I joke about being my 4-year work plan. But one of the key things that came out of the All-In plan, a couple of the key things. First, addressing blight and vacancy, supporting access to affordable home ownership, and addressing the structural barriers that are put in place. The number across the county, those 19,000 residents, the number 3, the third highest housing priority, was to increase pathways to affordable home ownership for Allegheny County residents. When you looked at that and controlled for race, BIPOC respondents, their number 1 priority was access to affordable home ownership. And when the county executive talks about participatory governance, talks about centering the voices of the people that are most affected, the individuals that have felt the structural barriers and access to home ownership need to be centered. And we know we have the data across our country and here in Allegheny County about the racial home ownership gap. And so creating access to affordable home ownership and centering those individuals in those communities is our utmost focus right now. So again, we welcome Jason and Level to that work, and we're so excited to have another partner in advancing that work. I don't want to copy what Representative Powell had to say about the personal stability that we're going to see on this block. But I want to add also that I think one of the important things of this project of taking blight and vacancy and putting those units back on the tax rolls and creating a tax base that is stable for boroughs and school districts, and also too creates a ripple effect for the existing owners on this street. All right, we also have data. The cost of blight study was done for Allegheny County about now almost a decade ago. And it shows the ripple effects of the decrease in property value when you own a house next to a blighted vacant house. And so not only is Level going to be creating 9 affordable homes on this block, not only are they bringing 9 single-family homes back onto the tax rolls and stabilizing the street, but they are adding value and building equity for every neighbor on this street. And that can't be overlooked either. And that is one of the reasons the county is so glad to be investing $1.3 million in this project to bring these homes online. I'd also be remiss if I left today without thanking the work of the staff at our Economic Development Department, who worked through the underwriting of this project, worked to find the federal and local funds to bring into this project. Our staff that runs the Vacant Property Recovery Program, VPRP, that brought these houses through and got them into the hands of Level. All of that work can't happen without the dedicated staff that works for Allegheny County. And the county executive's proposed budget that we are going through the process of right now wants to bring additional local dollars into those programs, wants to put more money into affordable housing production, wants to support our county staff to make sure that we can administer these programs at the scale that our communities need. And so as you see the news and as you hear about the proposed county budget, know that these 9 houses are a product of county investment. They're a product of the county budget, and we want to scale that work. We want to invest in that work moving forward into the future. And so I just want to close once more with saying thank you for the invitation to be here. Really excited to see some shovels in the ground, some sledgehammers in walls, and really look forward to being back here when the first homeowners are moving in. Thanks, Jay.
So forgive me, everybody. I'm going to have a quick sidebar with that. Ed, I'm so glad to hear that. Level has a goal to do 1,000 units in Allegheny County. So we're extremely thrilled that County Executive Morado wants to do more, and you're looking to scale, because so are we. So the next guy I first met, you'll all know, when I met him, he had a full head of hair. And I'm really sorry. It's my fault. He don't have any left. But it's because of the work, and it's the commitment that we've had. And so many people have highlighted it. But, you know, McKees Rocks Borough is a true partner of ours. They were the first folks we talked to when we were trying to pull this off, because we knew if we did not have the borough and the community lined up, there's no point going to the state, there's no point going to the county to get this money. And so over the years, I think we've become some great dear friends. And I don't know what to say other than, man, he's been at the spot every time with the borough. So, Archie, I want to ask you to come up as Council President Archie Brinza from McKees Rocks Borough.
Thank you. I never had hair.
No, I know you did. It was.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I just want to first off welcome everyone to McKees Rocks. Second of all, I want to welcome Level to our McKees Rocks family, because you truly are family now, and I really do appreciate that. I'm going to be short and sweet, guys, but honestly, I can't thank you guys enough for choosing our town. I grew up right over there on Bouquet Street. I ran here every day, and to see these houses get redone, it means a lot to me, so we appreciate that. I'm thrilled to be here today to celebrate another milestone in Level's continued investment in McKees Rocks. This project is all about partnership, and it's been an honor to work with Level and our community leaders on revitalization and transformation of our neighborhood. I stand up here today not only as council president, but as a lifelong resident of McKees Rocks. And I want to sincerely thank Level and their partners for their commitment, dedication, time, and on developing a path forward for my hometown. Excuse me. Their continued efforts and investment are bringing new energy and positive changes to our neighborhood that will continue for generations. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. I'm not as elegant as them guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Archie. We can't underestimate it, the importance that this really means to the community of McKees Rocks. And I think everybody here recognizes it because we live this work day to day in our lives. But, I'm going to ask, still it's the borough, but, Mayor, if you would please come up. The mayor's been another great supporter of ours. We want to just convey the importance of what this means to the community itself. It's not often that we get to take times like this in communities like McKees Rocks to have our leadership from the state and from the county really hear and appreciating and hearing from folks directly. I think this is really important. We have a little bit more of this, so please bear with me. But Mayor, if you'd come up and please say a few words.
All right. I like being close to last because all I got to do is be short and relatively charming. It's good. You said it all. You really did. You said it all. And I thank you for that. But I want to add one little bit to all of this, bring it home for all of us. Take it out of the world of math, bring it into our hearts a little bit. When I was a kid, Jermaine Spiker would oftentimes break up my brother and I from murdering each other in our bedrooms on the second floor of our homes because she was our neighbor. She took it upon herself to act when my parents would not be around. If you came to my house and had pasta dinner with us tonight, you'd have sauce from 3 different gardens that comes from 3 different sets of tomatoes from 3 different gardens out of 2 separate communities. That's neighbors. When I ran for this office, I ran telling people I wanted to find a way to fill this neighborhood up with people who wanted to live here. They said, "How are you going to do that?" with all these problems. And at first, I thought to myself, I really don't know. I did it, but I really don't know what else we're going to do. But we got to dig into that because I know this as a fact. Tell me a problem in your community. I tell you we can solve it by getting more neighbors in your town. More people who are invested, who are not just living somewhere, but are literally living the American dream. And I know that might sound a little bit like, well, that sounds awfully big. We're just this little tiny community. But no. We are one part of this amazing nation filled with such potential, such possibility. Now around here, maybe we've been ignoring it. Maybe others, maybe it's not getting ignored anymore. And the reason it's not getting ignored anymore, at least in part, is because of people like Jason Tigano. The sky opened, this tiny little meteor hit the ground, and Jason popped out of it. And he told us this idea for what he was trying to do. And he said it himself. It's never been done before, and it's crazy. It's a little nutty. Welcome to McKees Rocks. Okay? So that's great. Let's try it. From the heart. Not how do I make $1 million on this gig? How do I walk away from here, not living here, but better off in my... I cannot thank you enough. I hope we have made a transition from when you call me and say, hey, we've got a delay. It's not, oh, I've got to call the mayor and tell him I've disappointed him in this. I hope it's now moved to a place where I got to call my friend and tell him we have more to do. And I thank you for, when I say we, you carry most of this for us as well. And so we, the 6,000 people in McKees Rocks, whether we know that's happening or not, because look, where's my rock scenes at? Speak up, make some noise. Okay, so there's some of us here, right? On behalf of 6,000 rock scenes, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Level Equity. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today. I could go on forever about this town. Come meet me and I'll do it for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Man, my heart's filled with joy. So this work, we talk about why it's hard, and it's hard for a lot of reasons. A lot of what we've heard today is about money and about construction. That's the easy part of the problem. We can figure those things out. We got to qualify buyers, and we got to find folks that are ready and prepared. And a lot of times we might have to teach people things they don't know already about what it means to own a home or pay a mortgage or fix a leaky pipe. Full disclosure, I sit on the board of NeighborWorks Western Pennsylvania. They're also one of our partners here today. NeighborWorks provides homebuyer education, and they're our partner here providing that education to the residents of McKees Rocks. I'd like to invite Colin Kelly up, the CEO of NeighborWorks Western Pennsylvania, to talk more about their work here.
Wow, Mandy, now I know how you feel going after Representative Powell. Mr. Mayor, that was wonderful. When I saw the agenda and I saw that Jason only had 5 minutes to speak, I'm going to make this very short because I think for those of you who know Jason, I don't think he's ever done a speech in under probably 14 minutes. So I'm going to make this brief, but again, thank you to Mr. Mayor, Council President Brinza, Representative Powell, Mandy, Ed, and our assembled colleagues and all of you here today. And a special thank you to the KeyBank Foundation for the support of our organization. It was around a year ago that we were in front of this same property for a press release then about the KeyBank Foundation supporting our organization for the work that we're doing in partnership with Level in McKees Rocks, but also in other communities around Allegheny County. So thank you to them. McKees Rocks is a very special place. It's an honor for our team anytime we're invited to bring our homeownership services into a community. And in all the communities we work in, but in such a special place as McKees Rocks, our team always brings the highest level of respect and commitment to the community and its residents. It's a hallmark of our organization to show that respect and commitment. For the last 3.5 years, NeighborWorks has shared the mission of Level to increase the number of first-time homebuyers, especially to low and moderate income homebuyers and those from minority communities. While Level continues the hard work of improving the affordable housing supply, NeighborWorks focuses on preparing buyers to become homeowners through our HUD-certified trauma-informed counseling and education. One of our central pillars is that creating stable homeownership improves the quality of life for not only the homeowner, but also the neighborhood. Because of this, we utilize a community building approach for our education workshops. Members of a cohort meet on a regular basis to receive valuable information about finances, budgeting, the home buying process, and how to sustain stable homeownership after closing. This model improves connection and develops a sense of community between the participants, allowing them to share ideas and successes, seek help from their peers, and develop relationships from their future neighbors. Residents who participate in the NeighborWorks program receive individualized counseling to meet their specific needs while also developing this community. This approach, paired with Level's commitment to increasing affordable housing options that are then matched with these purchase-ready home buyers, serves the mission of both Level and NeighborWorks. We are grateful to be a strong partner of Level here in the beautiful community of McKees Rocks. Thank you, everybody.
So we have one more speaker we'd like to have, and it's sort of a last-minute add to the agenda because we didn't realize they were going to be here, and they showed up, and I'm so happy. Before I invite them up, though, I do want to take some time. I also have to thank the McKees Rocks CDC, Terrace Verchek, Al, Mary Sue, Sonia, I mean, everybody, the ambassadors. The CDC is so important to the work we do as well. In some ways, unfortunately, we just sort of ran out of time for the agenda, but you know, we're making the best of it. So I want to thank Terrace and the CDC especially for being here and, man, just loving community in real time. So this project originally was a 10-unit project. It is a 9-unit project now because we sold our first house back in April. And our buyers are here. And I asked Dennis beforehand if he'd come up and say some words, and he's agreed to because he's always so good to me. But, you know, this is what it's all about. And I think it's going to be so important for everyone to hear from Dennis, from one of our buyers, this is why we do the work. And I think it's all really important of what we've talked about. But when we think about changing lives, this is where the rubber meets the road. And so I'm grateful for Dennis and Sammy to be here today. And Dennis, if you'd be so kind to just share a couple of words, I would love it.
Absolutely. When Jason asks you to do something, you don't say no. Definitely really happy to be here. My wife and I, we own a small business. We were out doing some marketing education for disadvantaged businesses out in Erie, and we were like, Jason's things tomorrow. Let's just cancel our hotel. Let's drive back. And then as we were walking up that hill, by the way, we thought it was at 10, so we were here a little early, which was great because we got to hang out with Jason for a little bit. So we're walking up that hill, and I was telling Tim this, Jason has golden retriever energy, because when he saw us, I swear, his tail started wagging. He was so excited. And that's what Level encompasses, that it's a partnership. I grew up in a community not unlike McKees Rocks. It had its own challenges. I grew up out in New Kensington, PA, and single parent household, lost my father to gun violence as I was a kid. So constantly growing up, my mom having multiple jobs, and not once, I didn't even know anybody who owned their own home. No one in my immediate family ever owned their own home. And, to kind of when you grow up in that type of situation, you want to try to do everything the best that you can so you don't constantly repeat things that have happened before in the past. So right out of high school, joined the military, still never even thought of home ownership. Then from the military, I actually met my wife a little over 10 years ago, and we started our own company. Still never even thought of home ownership. You're doing all these things all your life, trying to do everything the right way. And it was so ingrained in the back of my mind that you don't know anyone that owns their own, home growing up. You're not, that imposter syndrome, you're not supposed to own your own home. And I didn't even think it was possible until Tim, one of Jason's partners and now a good friend of ours, I was like, hey man, I need you to meet this guy. So we met Jason at a coffee shop up in Allentown, right outside Mount Oliver. And the first thing, when I saw him, he was like, hey man, you might want to sit down. I got this crazy idea. And then he proceeds to tell us about what him, Mark, and Tim are really building here. And, we wanted to help out with some early assets. And we were like, yeah, this sounds really, really cool. And then as we saw Level taking shape and the work that they were doing in communities, we were like, homeownership is possible. And then Jason was like, hey, we're doing this for folks like you guys as well. And then that's when it hit us. I was like, we can be homeowners. Jason said something that really stuck with me, that sometimes you think going to the moon is easier than buying your first home. And that no pun intended, but that really hit home. And now then we were entered into the program and working with NeighborWorks and all that great fun stuff. And then you think you travel through life and you do all this, and you think that's the hard part. But then you realize how the institution is everything out there set up, because then we had to qualify for a mortgage. Like, we just got to that point, and we still had to do so many steps. With the education we got from NeighborWorks really helped, but as we're going through financial institute and being a small business owner, that's a whole nother wrench into things on top of that. But you think that you're doing everything right. And then one thing that I noticed, and I'm not one of those folks that sees, systemic racism and everything. I really, truly don't. I think we've made a lot of strides as a nation, but it creeps up when you least expect it. So as we were going through the mortgage process and I, looked at our application, I saw that I was put on the mortgage application as a white man. And I met our mortgage officer. And then we ended up having to change banks. Again, being a small business owner, you try to, shop around the most as you can. And then a bank from the other end of the country on the West Coast had me on the application as a white man, and we've met over Zoom. So it exists out there. But the reason why I bring this up is for context, because that stretched out where we thought this was going to be a 3-month process to close on our mortgage. It ended up being over a year. But Level and Jason, Mark and Tim, they stuck by us. That commitment that they had for us being able to get that first home, to really change the path for the rest of our life. They stuck by us, and that's what Level's about, and that's what home ownership needs to move towards. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Man, thank you all so much for coming today. I can't say much more than what everybody has already said. And man, if this is certainly not about me anymore. This, for me, never was about me. It's about trying to create home ownership for families and communities. And I couldn't be happier to be here in McKees Rocks with each and every one of you today. And I have so many more people to thank. There are so many people behind this work that make it happen. And if I didn't thank you, my deepest and sincerest apologies. I love everybody for being a part of this. Thank you. I'll stick around. We'll all stick around for questions and celebrations. I think that, oh yeah, we got to do the shovels. Thanks, David. All right, we're doing pictures with shovels. Yes, Heather. Oh, I need to thank a couple other folks. Low Bar is here. If you don't know about Low Bar, they are a woman-owned business. In the back, take a bow. They recently just bought a building in McKees Rocks, and they're going to be bringing some awesome event services to the area, and they're just here to help participate and do some things to make this event better for us. So grateful for Low Bar, grateful for Leon and his crew for being here. Runway, thank you. Runaway. Thank you. I apologize for that. Leon, you're first rate. Man, this is such a great day and such great weather. Who would have saw this on Halloween? No tricks, all treats today. So with that, let's take some pictures with some shovels. If you spoke, I'm going to ask you to hold a shovel, so come on up, and we'll thank you. If you got to go, you got to go. I ran over. I always do.